Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good evening, watchmen and watchwomen of YouTube. So, real quick, before we get started with headlines, I want to remind you, it is going to be the beginning of the month, well, technically tomorrow, for, let's see, March. So, Patreon's probably a good idea at the beginning of the month, right? So, got a lot of stuff up there. I did want to show you real quick, so you know. 92. We're up to 92 exclusive posts now. So, it's not like you pay your $2 for the month that you're only going to get, a couple of things. You're going to be unlocking 92 different posts that I've done since we've been on Patreon. And I also want to make a note that I did change the weekly threat assessment live stream from the $5 tier. I actually changed that to the $2 tier. Most mornings, not all, but most mornings, I'm going to try to do a morning news live stream for the $5 and up patrons. So, again, I cannot commit to every single morning because I wouldn't be able to meet that commitment. But I did move the weekly threat assessment live stream from the $5 and up tier down to the $2 and up tier. So, that is a good thing as well. I want to real quick make a reminder that, and I can't remember the dates, so let me scroll down and see. There was a particular episode that I wanted you to see. This one here. So if you do become a patron tomorrow, please go down in our posts and find the post from February 24th, the live stream, and please watch that. Especially if you're somebody that isn't just completely loaded with money, and being able to barter would be a feather in your cap after a major event. You definitely want to watch that live stream. So what I basically talk about, as a quick reminder, is I talk about ways that you can invest minimally, right, to have the maximum return. In other words, things that you'd be able to barter with a minimum investment now, but that you would get a massive return on after things go south. So, seriously, February 24th, the live stream from that, you do not want to miss that on Patreon. So, anyway, let me get scrolled back up here. I got one other thing I want to mention before we get started here. I became a member of another network. I shun or shutter or whatever word you want to use to call it a social media network. Although technically it is, it's a lot better than the social media networks that we're used to. And no, it's not MeWe, it's not Parler, it's not any of those. I thought that the page Steemit, I thought had a good thing going, but they kept changing up who they were partnering with and stuff like that, and half the, like DLive and DTube and all that were a nightmare to try to use, and it was just it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the fight. There is another social media site, if you will, that Tim Pool had recommended the other night on his show, and so I went and checked it out, and I immediately went and signed up for it. I mean, I was lying in bed signing up for it, and I hate using my phone to do anything. But anyway, I will put a link to this social media network down in the description of the video, of the headlines video here. And it's pocketnet.app, pocketnet.app. And I'm telling you, it is pretty cool. it is pretty cool. Now, you don't actually upload video to there or anything like that at this point, but you can link like YouTube videos and stuff like that. You also earn pocket coins, which is a cryptocurrency, for your time there. For when you post stuff and all of that, you actually earn something from it. So like I say, it's kind of like Steam It in a sense to where you can actually earn something there. Right now, and I've only been using it for the weekend, I'm up to 7.89 pocket coins, and I believe the rate is currently like 28 cents, if I'm not mistaken, 28 cents per pocket coin. So, yeah, I mean, I've only been using it for the weekend, not been there long. I'm sure the longer that we are there, not only, of course, the more we'll make, that's common sense, but I think it'll start coming in faster because you've got like reputation points and stuff like that. So pretty cool little network. I would check it out. I'm in no way affiliated with them. I don't get anything for plugging their site. I just I think it's a good thing. So pocketnet.app. I'll put the link down in the description of the video. I urge you to go check them out. So anyway, you're here for headlines. Why don't we do some headlines, huh? I would be over here. And my apologies for no video on Thursday night. I didn't do a live stream at all Thursday night. I took the night off. I wasn't feeling well. Those that have been around for a while know that I don't miss very many days. So I do apologize for missing Thursday. I'm not going to be covering Thursday's headlines. I'm going to start from Friday and get us caught up till today, and then we'll go from there. So anyway, let me get started because, as you know, there's always quite a few headlines when I catch up from the weekend. So starting from Friday, Amazon-owned Twitch removes anti-union ads pushed by parent company after media and users complain. Let's see. The war machine is back. Biden reminded of previous criticism of Trump's escalation in Syria after he orders a new strike. McConnell says he'd absolutely back Trump as 2024 GOP nominee, as poll shows 46% of Republicans would ditch party for ex POTUS. Let's see. Queen Elizabeth II statue found decapitated after suspected vandalism in Canadian Park. Police launch a probe. TikTok agrees to $92 million settlement in class action suit over alleged privacy breach of U.S. users. Cryptocurrency slumps by 20% in worst week in almost a year. Yeah, but it's still up there. 50% of Israel's population has had at least one COVID-19 shot, the health minister says. Europe must hurry up with COVID-19 health certificates or Apple and Google could get there first, the EU Commission president warns. French PM's COVID-19 in action questioned as government set to review plans for 3-week Paris lockdown. UK Supreme Court denies ISIS bride Shamima Begum right to return to fight for her citizenship back. Claims that Amnesty stripped Navalny of prisoner of conscience status because of pressure from RT is untrue, says embattled NGO. German police target far-right crime gangs in early morning op 1 day after raiding major Islamist group. Short sellers lose another $2 billion on GameStop as independent traders take on Wall Street again. COVID-19 pandemic pushed French economy into worst recession since World War II, says a report. Myanmar riot police fire at crowd to disperse protesters as military tries to reimpose rule after coup. Google and Indian newspapers demand 85% ad revenue share from tech giant. Not Google and Indian, but Indian newspapers, sorry. Advanced missile launcher that strikes fear into the hearts of U.S. pilots, foiled by icy Russian roads after multi-car pileup. Former gymnast says suicide of U.S. coach accused of sex abuse allowed him to cheat justice. FBI looking into potential political motive behind violent dog napping of Lady Gaga's bulldogs, says reports. EU to impose restrictive measures on those responsible for arrest and sentencing of Navalny, says the European Council president. Biden blasted for picking a fight in Syria and letting minimum wage slide at home. Still on Friday, by the way. Black and Asian communities trust family more than government and media for COVID-19 vax information amid lagging BAME jab uptake in the UK. Natural gas production plunged 45% during the Texas freeze. Russian media outlets linked to British state conjure up false story blaming RT for Amnesty's downgrading of Navalny's status. India and China discuss troop pullback in disputed territory a day after Kashmir border ceasefire agreement. Some local GOP leaders fire up base with conspiracies and lies. That's true for both sides. Portuguese Prime Minister hopes EU COVID-19 vaccine passport in place by summer as bloc split on travel restart. West is obsessed with imposing its own version of democracy in Belarus, country's foreign minister claims, urging closer ties with Russia instead. Belgians warned to shun government-distributed masks as they may contain toxic chemicals. With increased support from Moscow following Minsk political crisis, Belarus has become a military district of Russia, says Estonia. UK vaccine rollout, police union critical as under 50s to get COVID jabs ahead of officers or teachers. Stability or change, Russians split over whether Putin should stay on as president beyond 2024 after rule change allows a fifth term. Still on Friday, by the way. Merchant vessel rocked by explosion in Gulf of Oman, says British maritime body. Johnson, biggest recruiting sergeant for nationalism, ex-PM Brown says in blistering attack on Britain's COVID-19 response. And I could totally make a joke about Johnson and being the biggest, but I probably already said it. Not a city in Israel without violations. Police break up more than 100 parties and issue 2,500 fines on Purim holiday. Arab man accused of passing Israeli missile defense information to Hamas. COVID cases fall across UK to last October's levels, Statistics Office reports. Amid Yerevan turmoil and military uprising, Azerbaijani President Aliyev, and I probably said these all wrong, says Armenian PM Pashinyan has led his country to ruin. Gunmen kidnapped 317 schoolgirls in northwest Nigeria. Police confirm the second major raid in as many weeks. It was boys the last time, and not nearly as many. This is extremely concerning. This is extremely concerning, especially with all that we know about things going on with child trafficking and all of that. Man, I can't even fathom. When I put out this headline, all I could do is sit there and think. It just stunned me. And we've got to put a stop to this type of stuff. If there's anything we need to focus on, that's it. Anything that brings harm to kids, right? We need to focus on. It drives me up a wall. My son Brett's birthday is today. My son Rafal, his birthday was 2 days ago. I haven't seen them since 2014. And all because of a vindictive mother. So I know what it's like to be missing children. And mine are alive. We've got to do something. Not only about things like this, but things like my situation, along with the millions of other filers that are in the same boat, got to stop with the kids. It's got to stop. We have a hint it may be possible. Controversial stem cell therapy repaired injured spinal cords in 13 patients. After U.S. apologizes to Ireland for soldiers breaking COVID-19 rules during flight stopover, Irish foreign minister confirms 2 more incidents. Still on Friday, by the way. Probably coming up towards the end of Friday. Looking into Palantir, activists warn NHS to come clean about secretive deal with data mining company. French Prime Minister blasts Paris City Hall's proposal to open everything after 3-week COVID lockdown. 88-year-old Frenchman caught speeding at 191 kilometers per hour and says he was late for a COVID-19 jab. Saudi Crown Prince approved plan to capture or kill Khashoggi, a newly declassified U.S. intelligence report says. Yeah, but we aren't going to do anything. Russian Foreign Ministry says Twitter no longer independent social media, but a tool of digital dictate under control of the West. Arizona professors develop virtual reality program to demonstrate systemic racism and microaggressions. So there you go. Get ready to download that for your virtual reality pleasure, right? Let's see. Do not wreck this now. UK government scientist urges lockdown-weary Brits not to flout COVID rules amid burning infection pockets. Let's see. Onlookers bemused as Republicans wheel in a gold Trump statue for CPAC. Brazilian prosecutors call on government to suspend 20 million dose deal with India's Covaxin jab over lack of phase 3 trial data. 5 people killed and scores wounded as Iraqi security forces open fire on anti-government protesters, says reports. And you know, I've heard a lot of talk about what's going on in Myanmar, and rightly so, there should be, but I haven't heard anything on this yet. Bill demanding $15 minimum wage from corporate giants surprisingly comes from pro-Trump Senator Hawley. Saudi Arabia categorically rejects U.S. claims about Khashoggi killing as Washington stops short of sanctioning Crown Prince MBS. New York's Wakanda Forever School superintendent who demanded solidarity salutes takes helm of the largest U.S. school system. You see how that works? Syria condemns cowardly aggression by U.S. as Biden says he wanted to send Iran a message about impunity. New York Times columnist faces conflict of interest accusations after singing praise for Facebook group's feature in tech giant's blog post. Still on Friday. A World Economic Forum shouted down on Twitter for suggesting COVID-19 lockdowns improved cities all over the world. Boston halts advanced school program over equity concerns after study finds it has too many white and Asian students. I mean, when is enough enough? Not until we say it, not until we prove it, as a matter of fact. Not just say it. Plenty of people saying it, but that's all they're doing. They're saying it. You know? Where are our tens of thousands in the streets protesting an end to the insanity? Right? That is why the left is winning, ladies and gentlemen, because they're not afraid to get in the streets and make a show of it, so to speak. Right? So the appearance, and this is how they get away with it. The appearance is that is what the majority wants. Because think about it for a second. When you see all these big major protests and all that stuff getting plastered all over the television, it's largely the left doing it. The only thing you've got the right to get out for was to support Trump. Really? That's it? That's all the right has. There isn't anything in other than Trump that energizes the right enough to be able to gather and show that they actually support what they say. Think about what I'm saying. I realize that the media, especially the mainstream media, is largely going to ignore tens of thousands of right-leaning people in the streets protesting this insanity. I get that. So you have to do it on a level that it can't be ignored. Let me say that again. You have to do it on a level that it cannot be ignored. Think of it as a football game or NASCAR or something like that. I don't know. But until you're willing to actually commit something to your beliefs, don't ever think that you're going to achieve them. Sharing memes on social media is not enough. You have to go further than that. That's why the left is winning. I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, now we're on Saturday's news. House passes $1.9 trillion pandemic bill on near party line vote. And I don't need to hear from the peanut gallery. I am sorry that I have to do... The dog is huffing me. I'm being huffed in my own home by my own dog. Need to give her a mic. That's what we need to do. Jeez, tough crowd in here. Biden administration to charge White House reporters $170 per COVID test amid concerns that smaller outlets will be squeezed out, says reports. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Trump did this? Think about it. If Trump would have charged $170 per COVID test for the media to be able to be there, just imagine the outrage. It's insane, is it not? Lady Gaga's stolen bulldogs brought to LA police after pop star offers $500,000 reward with no strings attached. A gold price could drop to $1,200 per ounce by 2023, warns Fitch. Greek police fire tear gas into metro station amid protest in support of jailed far-left hitman. Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package narrowly passes U.S. House, $1,400 stimulus checks included. New York Stock Exchange to delist oil giant CNOOC as Biden reviews Trump's policies on China. New Zealand Prime Minister Ardern plunges Auckland into second lockdown in a month after new COVID-19 case detected. Children in unicorn costumes rob jewelry store in Russia. Yeah, because even kids in unicorn costumes are badass in Russia, I guess. Wow. Still on Saturday, by the way. Be quiet. Indian economy finally returns to growth, beating COVID-driven recession. Gigantic iceberg 20 times the size of Manhattan breaks off from Antarctica and plows into a dog laying on a futon. Unmasking mysterious Bitcoin inventor may send crypto market into tailspin, Coinbase warns. Italian researchers create world's first smart tattoo using OLED technology. Propaganda arm of the British regime, BBC reporter hounded for misquoting former Scottish Premier. I should be hounded for misspeaking. Let's see. U.S. airstrikes strengthen and expand terrorist activities in the region, Iran says. Murder most foul. Man, I'm telling you, I'm reading this, so you can go to our Twitter and check it out yourself. I'm not making this up. Fighting cock. I'm just reading. Fighting cock that killed owner with 3-inch knife to appear in court in India. Yes, you heard that right. You heard that right. A rooster is going to court for killing its owner with a 3-inch knife. I'm not making it up. I am not making it up. China's Xiaomi wants to create, let me try that again. China's Xiaomi wants to create global manufacturing hub in India. CNN's love affair with airstrikes continues as network gushes over Biden attack on Syria. And I mean, again, it's crazy. And we talked about that on the Patreon portion of the show. We touched upon all of that nonsense about stereotyping, essentially. But stereotyping in that sense. World's wealthiest clash over Bitcoin. Gates advises to stay away while Musk causes crypto craze. Well, if Bill Gates tells you to stay away from it, I would run to it. FBI confirms report of long cylindrical UFO moving really fast over New Mexico. Lockdowns are not quietly improving cities, the World Economic Forum concedes, deleting its much ridiculed tweet. CNN's Jim Acosta grilled over network's failure to cover Emperor of New York, Andrew Cuomo's multiple scandals. IDF soldier killed in training accident saves COVID-stricken Israeli man with lung transplant. Armenian crisis president refuses to sack military chief, says PM Pashinyan's order is unconstitutional. Again, we're on Saturday's news. Police charge at anti-lockdown protesters in Dublin after man launches firework at officer's face. Israel's defense minister points finger at Iran over explosion on Israeli vessel in Gulf of Oman. As FBI touts unprecedented speed of Capitol's insurrection probe, police still don't know what caused the officer's death. Virginia School District says Dr. Seuss demoted his Focus of Reading event due to racial undertones and denies complete ban. At least 13 arrested as rioting resumes in Barcelona over jailing of rapper who praised terrorists and insulted the monarchy. I understood that the governor wanted to sleep with me. Second former aide to New York Governor Cuomo accuses him of sexual harassment. Let's see. Johnson & Johnson's one-dose shot cleared, giving U.S. third COVID-19 vaccine. A GOP New York representative calls on criminal sexual predator Cuomo to resign after second former staffer alleges sexual harassment. By the way, we have the last two headlines were from this morning, so my apologies for not catching it. Czech President Zeman reveals Prague has asked Putin to supply Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccine without EU drug watchdog certification. How many times can I spit in the mic? At least 2 reported dead, multiple injured as Myanmar continues crackdown on anti-coup protests. I took off the pop filter, and because it does sound better without the pop filter, except if I've got a lot of PPPs. China's economy could double in size by 2035, eclipsing U.S. along the way, says Bank of America. Now, the $7 trillion cost of upgrading the U.S. power grid, an article about upgrading it. Portland protest turns chaotic with businesses trashed and fist fights on the street and bike cops slamming into the press. And lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. Ancient Roman Lamborghini chariot discovered in Pompeii in immaculate condition. I thought that was kind of cool. Epstein jokes touched a nerve after Trump Golden Globes host Tina Fey says don't expect much politics in this year's ceremony. A California doctor appears at court hearing via Zoom during surgery. Yeah, I was actually doing surgery, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. Vaccine passports to bolster British economy and combat impacts of COVID-19 crisis, says the finance minister. Bitcoin's record rally minting thousands of crypto millionaires, at least in virtual reality. NASA's deliberately created artificial glowing clouds in unusual weather control experiment. But I don't know, they're not trying to control the weather or nothing. That's all conspiracy talk. United and strong like never before, Trump won't break with Republican Party at CPAC speech, will back the GOP. After infighting rocks S&P, majority no longer support Scottish independence, a poll shows. Russia's national payment system Mir to launch Apple Pay support. Without parallel in democratic world, Watchdog slams Israel's extreme entry ban on imposed to stem COVID-19. It's not about geopolitics, but human health. Czech PM signals country could use Russian Sputnik 5 vaccine without EU approval. California Governor Newsom accused of breaking own lockdown rules for second time amid growing cries for him to be recalled. Biden administration will not sanction Saudi prince over Khashoggi killing, but will use more effective tools, says the White House. At least 18 killed on bloodiest day of Myanmar protests as UN demands military stop using force. Quarantine hotel inmates are told to stop smoking and buy nicotine patches after party in car park. After backlash over outside review of sexual harassment claims, Cuomo asks Attorney General and Chief Judge to pick counsel to investigate. Bad timing. Iran rejects EU and U.S. offer to hold direct talks on reviving 2015 nuclear deal. U.S. activists condemn Boris Johnson's voter ID plan and accuse him of copying Trump. Syrian air defenses repel Israeli aggression over Damascus and intercept most of the missiles, says state media. Trump puts to rest concern he will split Republican Party and hints at 2024 run. I may even decide to beat them for a third time, he said. New York Governor Cuomo acknowledges behavior seen as flirtation. So now we're backpedaling a little bit. Trump calls for breaking up big tech, says failure to restore freedom of speech would doom the Republican Party. A plane forced to land in Sudan after cat attacks pilot in the midair, hijacking the cockpit. Hey, again, I'm not making this stuff up. I'm reading you the headlines. That's the headlines. So anyway, that is the headlines. Please consider joining us on Patreon. A lot of stuff there and a lot more to come. So I hope everybody has a good night. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this again. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.